What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi, how are you? My name is 𝙒𝙖𝙩. Welcome to episode 3 of the late night series or expansion pack with the Eleanor twins. Last episode we got to play along with Everett and his little mission to bring back a ghostly friend. This episode, I don't know who I want to focus on, but we're just going to see how it goes, because right now Jane is on a mission or a gig per se. Now I've been having struggles with trying to get her to perform on stages and stuff like that because of the pack, or because the glitches in the late night expansion pack, but because I just don't know why or how. Because when we leave out of the screen, when I go right here to careers and it says get gigs, once you're level 2 or higher, get invited to sing in venues around town. And I did that. I went to several coffee stores and what else, even like empty parks, and we still couldn't even get like a gig or two. And it's very hard, I will say that. We are a celebrity. We're actually a 4-star celebrity, and that is because we're pretty much good friends with Esther Castro. We are trying to be romantic relationships with Estrella Castro. If you guys want to see how I meet Estrella, be sure to check out that video. She befriended the falcon. What the fuck? Dude, she's so dope for that. We just captured a falcon. Are you kidding me? So we switch back to Everett. It's getting a little later and he's like, who's at the door? So I would like to say that Peanut and Blinky is at home, and it is Mr. Vladimir himself. This is really scary. He actually came to visit Everett and check up on him in the process of him resurrecting his best friend, or I like to think that it's his best friend, which is Loaded Graves. And he invites him inside and he's like, yeah, like come in, sir. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry for the mess, it's just food I didn't know that grew bad and stuff, and he's gonna complain about it. We're gonna throw it away, and he's gonna be like, so sir, like how are you, like what brings you to my... And he's like, your home's pretty tasteful, it's an interesting piece at that. How many people live in this small little compartment? And he's like, oh, just me and my sister and my imaginary friend. He's like, imaginary friends? And he's like, yeah, like I grew up with them and I turned them into real people. So then I would like it to think Monkey's walking in or whatever. Well, I feel like since Blinky came in, he's like, oh shit, Blinky, how are you? And she's like, oh, how are you? I feel like after Vladimir has seen Blinky's like presence, he has like this unknown idea, and he's gonna be like, bless you, how was your day? And she's gonna be like, oh, my day was good. Everett, who was that man? And she's like, oh, one of my patients for this science thing that I'm doing at my job, a science experiment. And she's like, have you seen Jane or anything? And he's like, oh no, I'm pretty sure she's just out and about. Oh, what the world? I think that Blinky just got freaked out because of the vampire being in the house and no one knowing or no one making a fuss about it. I would like to say that she is a part of the supernatural deities or whatever you want to call it, because she is a what's the things called, imaginary friends. She is a imaginary friend, so she is prone to like and respect supernatural beings. She was just freaking out that, you know, there was a vampire, and she kind of is unfamiliar with their work, or she is familiar with their work. She's just freaking out about it because he gave off this evil vibe, and I think she just basically like freaked out knowing that Everett is friends with him. Oh, she's just slapping people because of the full moon, I believe. I think that's what's going on. See, she's gonna do it to him. Like, what? That is your whole fiance. We're going to talk about supernatural, because she's gonna be like, there was a vampire in our house. And he's like, a vampire in our house? Like, are you sure it was a vampire in our house? And she's like, yeah, Everett brought a vampire into our house, meaning he can walk into our house any day, any night, any, you know, here and there. And he's like, Blinky, like, it's fine. You know, Everett is involved in crazy things because he's a science man, you know. Oh, wait, we have a falcon. I totally forgot. Let me put a freaking bird cage. She's losing it, guys. She's losing it. Oh my goodness. I never realized how bad she is losing it. She's over emotional, but What does that have to do with her freaking out? She's so adorable. We're gonna get her to make out with him, calm her nerves down, and then we're gonna get them to woohoo one another. They're so cute together. No, she's gonna freak out again. Oh my goodness. And he's like, Blinky, like, just relax, girl. Like, everything's gonna be fine. You're just nervous for no reason. And I feel like Blinky is kind of nervous because she is nervous for Everett's health and well-being dealing with this vampire. And I feel like she wouldn't react the same way if it was Esther or Estrella, because they seem nice and cordial. But knowing Vladimir's like his image and stuff like that, it kind of does scare her just a tad bit. Look at her. His name is Sylvester. He's so cute. We did have a turtle. I think I'm just gonna buy or look for a turtle, because remember when my game crashed? Yeah, he's so cute. This is so like Jane coded, because who would have a pet falcon? Everett decided to stop by Vladimir's house, and when I mean stop by, I mean Vladimir basically called him and was like, hey bestie, come over to my house and let's chat for real, because we couldn't really get to chatting the way we wanted to, because your house is very crowded and I don't want a lot of people in our business. I'm sure your family and your friends know that you're a scientist, but I'm sure they do not know that you're working for me and you're working to better your life and not be in this rugged place again. Now, Everett has bucks. He is a rich celebrity. Why would Everett want a lot of simoleons and something that could change his life forever kind of decision? And I feel like Everett's kind of not naive or not, I don't even know what's the word to say, but he just wants more of something that he can't have, which is Blinky. Remember, that's what the goal is, to get something that he doesn't have. Vladimir promised that. Like, okay, you want that? Sure, I'll give you that. Sure. And so he comes over to Vladimir's house and he's like, sir, why aren't you like burning to a crisp right now? Like, the sun is out, everything is bright as day. And Vladimir, of course, he's like, son, I am like a 200-year-old century vampire. I don't know if that's like what you would say, but he's basically over 200 years old. So he has his ways of living and he has his ways of going around a lot of tricks and stuff, playing God, if you will. And he said, look, I'm so sorry that I had to leave last night early. I just got an amazing idea, and I also had to feed, because he's a vampire. so then I would like to think like in this conversation they're discussing Jane, because he is kind of concerned for her because that is his sister. Now, Vladimir didn't even promise anything about keeping his family safe, but he's like, look, if I'm going to be doing this, I also want to make sure that Jane is in safe hands. I don't want anything interfering with her and her success. I don't want anything troubling her or turning her into a mad person because she is innocent in all of this. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I can promise that Jane will be safe, but I can't promise on what the decisions she will make. Apparently he found out some things by just coming into the house of the twins, and he literally looked at Blinky and he left. And so now he's going to say, I accept the fact that you want everything for yourself. You are in love with a woman who's already engaged, perhaps married, and I was in love with someone very similar to that, but I knew I couldn't have her because of my back. Let's get a little darker. If you can complete this task for me with getting Lotta Graves and turning her into a real human, I can grant you, going back to what was going on. And he's like, that Vladimir is like, whoa, how are we acting crazy? That doesn't make sense. All these dang dogs everywhere. We're gonna complain about Blinky. Let's complain about Blinky a little bit. But he's like, he talks about the things that he couldn't have and how he learned his lesson from that and how he wishes that things could have been changed. And he questions Everett's ability, ask him again, like, are you sure this is what you want? You want Blinky? Or do you just want someone who is similar to Blinky? You know what I'm saying? And Everett is like, nah, like, I'm very sure of what I want. But she has been on edge a little bit. I feel like there's something going on with the imaginary friend contract that the twins have with their imaginary friends. So if they know that their sim is feeling kind of off, they'll start to freak out, which is crazy because Everett isn't even Blinky's imaginary friend. It's usually Jane and Blinky, Peanut and Everett, And so he goes on to say, well, not goes on to say, but Vladimir, he goes on to say, look, if you can turn my friend back into a person, and if you can get her here to live happily ever after with me, that's the end deal. But Boinky, she could be the vessel of my best friend. She just can't walk around with a ghost. And Everett's like, wait, you want Boinky to be the vessel of Lotta? And he's like, yeah, what is, you make it sound like it's a bad thing. You don't even really like Boinky like that. Like, you don't. So what's the issue here? And so I think right now he's just having, well, we know that he's frozen, right? But I feel like he's coming to the sense of deciding on if he wants to go with the Vladimir plan or his conscience of this doesn't seem right or whatever. Jane is finally over here with her friend Esther and her crush. Oh, there's so many feathers. Oh, did she leave? Did what's her face leave? That's wild. We're just gonna talk to, I don't think she did. Did she leave? Oh no, she's down here. So we're gonna try to impress her. I feel like because she's so like intrigued with Estrella. Is that Estrella? Yeah, Estrella. Even though she's like a big high class celebrity, I feel like Jane, she gets nervous, so she feels like she needs to like show off her skills to Estrella. And she's gonna be like, hi, Estrella, you know, I like cooking. I cook a lot, you know, I paint too. I can paint you. You seem like an amazing painter and stuff. And you know, I know your sister. So like I mean, like we could be like really like good friends, you know, best friends maybe. And she's doing good at not sounding nervous, but I feel like she would sound nervous, and it just makes Estrella kind of like giggle and stuff because she's literally so and she's like, oh, like you sound pretty dope. And she's like, yeah, you know, like I am pretty dope. I get that a lot from my career and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, like what do you do? And she's like, oh, I feel like not Eleanor, that's their last name. I feel like Effie would be like, oh, I sing, I'm an indie singer. And she's like, oh, like so when is your like next gig? And she's like, oh, I'm trying to get a gig, you know, it's pretty hard and stuff. And I feel like Jane would honestly ask her on a date because she's kind of hungry. So we're gonna flirt with her just a little bit, ask if she's single, and then yeah, we're gonna compliment her appearance. Even though she kind of looks raggedy, we're still gonna do that because like I feel like if you like someone, you wouldn't really care what they look like. Oh, they're so cute. She like has not done anything in her job or whatsoever, but that's totally fine. We don't care. So we're gonna let them do that. And I feel like this is something that Vladimir was saying to Everett, like, I can't guarantee your sister's, like, I can guarantee your sister's safe, but I can't guarantee your sister's decision because Estrella and Esther are vampires and they are in the same group band with Vladimir. And Vladimir isn't a good vampire. He has never been a good vampire. He actually has really bad ties with other vampires that have caused him to make really bad decisions. She's single. Jane actually got a gig to perform for Vladimir Schlick, and I feel like he did this. Vladimir ordered himself a performer because he wanted to see a little bit more of Jane Effie and see what the whole like commotion is about his sister, because I feel like Vladimir, he has no care button. Like he just does not care about anyone else but himself, really. I feel like he does have feelings, yes, but if it's not dealing with him and his own happiness, like he does not care. And so he's just scoping out the scenery like, oh, this is his sister, oh, she's pretty too. Remind you that Esther and Estrella are his vampire, they do his deeds, like his light work basically. Like they turn people into vampires so they can follow Vladimir. So his empire, his little savvy empire in Bridgerton is wild. Bridgeport is, you know, sustainable. So none of the things that happened in the past would happen again because everyone will obey Vladimir. I would believe that Jane came upstairs because she's like, oh, I have a package for you. He's like, what are you doing here, Jane? And he's like, I'm doing my job. Something I do my job. And he's like, oh, Jane. And he's like, what are you doing here in Vladimir's house, Everett? And he's like, oh, it's nothing, like he's technically my boss. And Everett's like, look, and he's like, he is, you work as a scientist, not a vampire chauffeur. And he's like, look, we can talk about this when we go home. I guess I'll see you later. What the world? She's gonna go into the jacuzzi? Yeah, make yourself at home, Jane, while you're supposed to have a conversation with your brother. The twins meet at home, and of course, like, he wants to leave the conversation or whatever, but Jane is like, so when were you gonna tell me that you were all of a sudden friends with a vampire and you work for him? And she's like, oh, well, Everett is like, it's nothing, don't worry about it. It's literally just a job that don't worry about it. Like, it's fine. I got this under control. And she's like, dude, no, I don't think you have this under control, because this is something that is dangerous. Like, you're playing in dangerous territory, Everett. And Everett's like, look, I said don't worry about it. I'm making this better for us. And she's like, for us? We're literally rolling in generational wealth right now. We don't need any extra money to survive or anything. So like, whatever you're plotting or planning, it's not good for any of us. I figured that's what Peanut was telling me when he said that that Boinky was freaking out lately. Like, she's been freaking out. And he's like, Boinky's been freaking out about what? Question mark, question mark. Jane's gonna be like, you know, a vampire coming into the house. I don't know, like, Boinky has been acting weird. Maybe she's PMSing, or maybe she's just freaking out because she's working a lot of hours and her and Peanut haven't gotten married yet. Like, there's a lot of things on her plate, but bringing a vampire into our home that we do not know, we're not familiar with, is just bonkers, Everett. Thanks for telling us that people were going to be coming into our house, especially a grandmaster vampire who is well known to be a butthole to everyone. And Bridgeport. Thank you, Everett. Peanut could be like, oh, long time no, what the world? I'm not speaking of Peanut. I feel like he could be like, long time no see, bestie. And he's like, where have you been? He's like, yeah, I've been busy. He's like, oh, I heard you brought a vampire in the house. And he's like, oh yeah, that's like one of my bosses and stuff. And he's like, one of your bosses? He's like, yeah, I'm doing like a side job for him. It's pretty important. And he's like, oh, okay. They're not even friends anymore. That's how bad the relationship is between Boinky and Everett. And yeah, I said Boinky because when Everett learned that Boinky was in a relationship with his imaginary friend, he was like, oh, this is not my friend anymore. So he's like, look, like, Boinky, she's just been feeling over edge and stuff like that, and I just wanted to come to you man to man about what's been going on with Boinky and how she's felt and stuff. And Everett's like, well, if she felt some type of way, she can always come to me, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, that too could happen, but she's my fiance and she will be my wife at the end of the year. And I just wanted to let you know that I don't feel safe with a vampire, especially with that status and quo, to come into our house, especially if it makes the women in our house unsafe or feel unsafe. Are you serious? Like, at the end of the day, this is my house. You're just an imaginary friend. You wouldn't be here without me, type of stuff. And he's like, look, I'm not trying to argue with you, Everett. Like, I love you and your sister. And Everett's like, don't bring my sister into this. Because he knows that Peanut does have this romantic thing towards Jane as well. And wait until he finds out that Jane actually moved on from that. If it wasn't for me, you would not be here. And he's like, I didn't say anything about it. I just said that maybe it would be best that you stop bringing random people in our house, especially evil, mean people. Don't tell me who I can bring in and out of the house, okay? I'm sure you and Boinky have like some wedding plans to get ready for. How long you been waiting for it? Y'all to walk down the aisle? All right. And then he leaves. So I did give her a little everyday makeover with her fit and stuff because she's very nervous about everything with with her new love interest coming to her house and popping up. I really like this outfit. It's really cute. It's really laid back. I was gonna go for like a rocker girl outfit because that is kind of what Estrella wears. She wears like this. Honestly, Estrella reminds me of Nana from Nana anime series. What a coincidence that she dresses like the other Nana who likes the pink and flurry and stuff like that. Y'all can't even see her. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. We decided to buy a cat, but anyways, Estrella is here and she's like, wow, you look so pretty. And she's like, oh, thank you. thanks. And she's gonna be like, so how are you? And she's gonna be like, oh, I'm doing good. She's like nervous a little bit. They're so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. She's gonna compliment her muscles because she's like, I really want to get toned like you and stuff. And she's like, oh girl, I used to be an athlete in high school. And she's like, oh, we should ask her what high school did she go to. And then I don't know. I feel like Blinky's gonna come outside or not. She's gonna use the bathroom. But it would be nice for her to come outside and check out what all the commotion is outside. Oh, we should go inside. She's gonna be like, oh, like you look like you're smoking or whatever. And she's like, yeah, like don't mind me. I gotta go. And so Estrella just dips. Dang, did I just go on a bad first date with somebody? Oh, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. So of course, Blinky, she comes outside and she's like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, nothing. I just feel like I ruined something that didn't even start. And Blinky's gonna be reassuring. She's gonna be like, girl, no, it happens, things happen. But don't worry about it. You look great though. She's like, thanks. Oh, we adopted a cat. His name's Sebastian. He's a Bengal cat. So we're going to, whoa. What? Blinky, what? Since Jane is going to the park to romance with a vampire. I feel like she doesn't really care. I think the only time she really cared about a vampire was when Peanut told Jane about Vladimir coming into the house because he's that evil. He's that evil. She changed her outfit. So she's gonna get to know her again and she's gonna be like, I hope I didn't, do anything wrong when we were together this morning. And she's like, no, it was just that my sister called me and I had to hurry up and go to her. And she was like, oh my God, is she okay? And she's like, yeah, like she's fine. She just enjoys burning water on the stove and making sure she doesn't catch on fire. Okay. They're just gonna be chopping it up. They're getting like really frisky. It's so cute to see her in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship. And then we're just gonna hold hands. We should massage. We're gonna confess attractions, and then I feel like she's going to say this out of impulse when they do a first kiss, and that she's gonna stumble on a few words and she's gonna be like, well, I just, I didn't know if you'd like me, and I didn't know if I was being a little bit too much or being too forward this morning. And Estrella is going to be like, no, like, you're fine. It was just a lot of things going on. My sister has nothing to do with you. I promise. And then I feel like Esther, or I keep saying Esther, but Estrella, Estrella's just going to kiss her out of impulse because she does feel romantic with... they're so cute. Yeah, that's so adorable, man. That's just, I'm crying over fictional characters. We're gonna kiss her goodbye and we're gonna be like, oh, okay, so I'll see you later. And she's like, yeah, I'll see you later too. So I am gonna leave this episode here because my Sims are acting weird. I think it's time for me to close it off. We've been recording for a very long time and I'm super excited for what's in store for the twins and their imaginary friends. Thank you guys so much for tuning in so far. What do you guys think will happen in the next episode? How do you feel about Blinky and Everett's relationship with all the vampires? But anyways, I'm going to leave you guys to your ideas what will happen in the next episode. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.